early 19. The life and sad ending of George Jones. George Glenn Jones was born on September 12, 1931, in Saratoga, Texas, and was raised in Colmesneil, Texas, with his brother and 5 sisters in the Big Thicket region of southeast Texas. His father, George Washington Jones, worked in a shipyard and played harmonica and guitar, while his mother, Clara, played piano in the Pentecostal church on Sundays. When he was 7, his parents bought a radio, and he heard country music for the first time. His father bought him his first guitar at age 9 and he learned his first chords and songs at church, and several photographs show a young George busking on the streets of Beaumont. Through his years of ups and downs, he has gone through 4 marriages. He married his first wife, Dorothy Bonvillian, in 1950, and was divorced in 1951. He served in the United States Marine Corps and was discharged in 1953. He married Shirley Ann Corley in 1954. In 1959, Jones recorded White Lightning, written by J.P. Richardson, which launched his career as a singer. His second marriage ended in divorce in 1968. He married fellow country music singer Tammy Wynette a year later. Years of alcoholism compromised his health and led to his missing many performances, earning him the nickname No-Show Jones. After his divorce from Wynette in 1975, Jones married his 4th wife, Nancy Sepulvado, and through those marriages, he has 4 children. During his career, Jones had more than 150 hits, both as a solo artist and in duets with other artists. Robert Christgau has called him Honky Tonk's greatest honky. His career is counted initially first recordings 1954 to 1957. His first record, the self-penned No Money in This Deal, was recorded on January 19, and appeared in February on Starday Records, beginning the singer's association with producer and mentor H.W. Pappy Daly. In 1955, Jonas' first hit was released and it was called Why Baby Why. That same year, while touring as a cast member of the Louisiana Hayride, Jones met and played shows with Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash. In 1957 Jones moved to Mercury. In early 1957, he teamed up with singer Jeanette Hicks, the first of several duet partners he would have over the years, and enjoyed yet another top 10 single with Yearning. Starday Records merged with Mercury that same year, and Jones scored high marks on the charts with his debut Mercury release of Don't Stop the Music. In 1959, Jones had his first #1 on the Billboard Country chart with White Lightnin', ironically a more authentic rock and roll sound than his half-hearted rockabilly cuts. One aspect of Jones' early career that might be overlooked is his success as a songwriter. He wrote or co-wrote many of his biggest hits during this period, several of which have become standards, such as Window Up Above and Seasons of My Heart. Jones wrote Just One More, Life to Go, a top 5 hit for Stonewall Jackson in 1959. You Gotta Be My Baby, and Don't Stop the Music on his own, and had a hand in writing Color of the Blues, Tender Years, and Tall Trees co-written with Roger Miller. Jones' most frequent songwriting collaborator was his childhood friend Darrell Edwards. With available talent, Jones signed with United Artists in 1962, and immediately scored one of the biggest hits of his career, She Thinks I Still Care. His voice had grown noticeably deeper during this period, and he began cultivating the singing style that became uniquely his own. In 1964, he practically owned the country music charts throughout the decade. Significant hits include Love Bug, Things Have Gone to Pieces, The Race Is On, My Favorite Lies, I'll Share My World with You, Take Me, a song he co-wrote and would later record with Tammy Wynette, A Good Year for the Roses, and If My Heart Had Windows. By this point, Jones' singing style had evolved from the full-throated, high lonesome sound of Hank Williams and Roy Acuff on his early Starday records to the more refined, subtle style of Lefty Frizzle. Jones' binge drinking and use of amphetamines on the road caught up to him in 1967, and he had to be admitted into a neurological hospital to seek treatment for his drinking. It has influenced his musical performance somewhat. In the early 1970s, scoring several big hits, including We're Gonna Hold On, Let's Build a World Together, Golden Ring, Near You, and The Jet Set. When asked about recording Jones and Wynette, Cheryl told Dan Daly in 2002, "It did increase my Scotch intake some." In 1971, Tammy Wynette Vaughan began touring together, and Jones bought out his contract with Musicor so he could record with Tammy and her producer Billy Sherrill on Epic Records. The singer had split with longtime producer Pappy Daly into acrimonious terms. Jones and Wynette became known as Mr. and Mrs. Country Music. By 1980, Jones had not had a #1 single in 6 years, and many critics began to write him off. However, the singer stunned the music industry in April when he Stopped Loving Her Today was released and shot to #1 on the country charts, remaining there for 18 weeks. The song, written by Bobby Braddock and Curly Putman. The song reaches its peak in the chorus, revealing that he indeed stopped loving her when he died, and the woman does return for his funeral. It is consistently voted as one of the greatest country songs of all time, along with I Am So Lonesome I Could Cry by Hank Williams and Crazy by Patsy Cline. Right, Jones ultimately gave the song credit for reviving his flagging career, stating, "A 4-decade career had been salvaged by a 3-minute song." Mostly sober for the rest of the 1980s, Jones consistently released albums with Cheryl producing, including Shine On, Jones Country, You've Still Got a Place in My Heart, Who's Gonna Fill Their Shoes, Wine-Colored Roses, Too Wild Too Long, and One Woman Man. Jones earned the Grammy Award for Best Male Country Vocal Performance in 1980. The Academy of Country Music awarded the song Single of the Year and Song of the Year in 1980. It also became the Country Music Association's Song of the Year in both 1980 and 1981. The success of He Stopped Loving Her Today led CBS Records to renew Jones' recording contract and sparked new interest in the singer. He was the subject of an hour-and-a-quarter-long HBO television special entitled George Jones, with a little help from his friends, which had him performing songs with Waylon Jennings, Elvis Costello, Tanya Tucker, and Tammy Wynette, among others. In 1981, Jones continued drinking and using cocaine, appearing at various awards shows to accept honors for He Stopped Loving Her Today arguably inebriated, like when he performed I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool with Barbara Mandrell at Country Music Association. Conversely, when sober, Jones was known to be friendly and down-to-earth, even shy. In 1982, Jones recorded the album A Taste of Yesterday's Wine with Merle Haggard, while Jones, in the wake of his condition, appeared underweight on the album cover. His singing was flawless. His run of hits also continued in the early 1980s, with the singer charting I Am Not Ready Yet, Same Ol' Me, Still Doin' Time, Tennessee Whiskey, We Didn't See a Thing, and I Always Get Lucky With You, which was Jones' last #1 in 1984. Jones' video for his 1985 hit Who's Gonna Fill Their Shoes won the CMA Award for Video of the Year. Billy Sherrill makes a cameo as the bus driver. In 1990, Jones released his last proper studio album on Epic, You Oughta Be Here With Me, and his first album with MCA, and along with Kame Jones, was released in 1991 and backed by MCA's powerful promotion team and producer Kyle Lenning. The album sold better than his previous one had. His last album to have significant radio airplay was 1992's Walls Can Fall, which featured the novelty song Finally Friday and I Don't Need Your Rockin' Chair, a testament to his continued vivaciousness in old age. The 1990s. Despite the lack of radio airplay, Jones continued to record and tour throughout and was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame by Randy Travis in 1992. In 1996, Jones released his autobiography I Lived to Tell It All with Tom Carter, Jones' most popular song in his later years was Choices, the first single from his 1999 studio album Cold Hard Truth. A video was also made for the song, and Jones won another Grammy for Best Male Country Vocal Performance. The story closes his life. Jones died on April 26, 2013, at 81 years old. Jones was buried in Woodlawn Cemetery in Nashville. His death made headlines all over the world. Many country stations as well as a few of other formats, such as oldies, classic hits, abandoned or modified their playlists and played his songs throughout the day.